I'm Sharice Nicole with Coco Fab TV. We caught up with the legendary Bishop T.D. Jakes, who spoke with us about his new film, Black Nativity, his new show on BET, and overcoming criticism and learning to walk by faith. Okay, so I'm so excited to be here with Bishop T.D. Jakes, who is amazing and an inspiration to so many people all over the world. So it's an honor for me to sit here with you today. How are you?
I'm doing real good. Excited to do this interview with you.
Oh, thank you. I love him more just for saying that. Just for saying that. Now, Black Nativity. Wow. Why was it important for you to do this film?
You know, it's a tremendous story about a realistic family. I think sometimes we learn things about how to manage our own families by looking at other families, and I thought it was a story that, particularly during the holidays, that we need to be reminded that you don't have to be a perfect family to find a way to love each other. Yeah.
I love that. Okay, so what would you say to critics that say, why do we need a Black Nativity?
Well, you know, actually, if you research it, it was the work done by Langston Hughes. And so it is true to the form from which it was originated, and it's not meant to discriminate against anybody. In fact, contrary to that idea, I really think that all people would really come to this movie and really, really enjoy it.
Absolutely. Now, how do you feel about being in the name amongst people like Langston Hughes? Because 100 years from now, people are still going to be doing T.D. Jakes quotes and talking about you and watching your, I don't know if YouTube will still exist 100 years from now, but they'll be watching you on something. So how does it feel to be in the realm with people like the great Langston Hughes?
Well, it's surreal to have an opportunity to work with people who are truly, truly gifted at what they do, and I'm humbled by it. I'm honored by it. I don't know whether they're going to be quoting me 100 years from now. That might be lavish, but my mother told me when I was a little boy to make your mark in the world, and she said, "Let the world know you were here." And I was raised with that idea that everybody has an obligation to make some kind of impression. In whatever your world is, be it large or small, but to let the world know you were here. Add something, don't take away.
Absolutely. Yeah. I want to sing that Beyonce song, If Only I Could Sing. You know, I was here, you know, if only I could sing, I was here. That's the best I have. Thank you. So, you know, one thing that my platform is learning to love yourself. Whenever I talk to people, I love to talk about how we all have insecurities and how we learn to overcome those insecurities and learn to love ourselves. So would you be willing to share one of your insecurities, you know, coming up or, you know, even now, and how you've learned to overcome that and learn to love yourself?
Wow, I have to pick which one I want to reveal today, you know. There were a lot of them. I was a real chunky little boy growing up, and as you can tell, I'm still a really big guy. So that has a certain amount of insecurities to it. I spoke with a lisp and still do. Had a gap in my teeth and still do. And I think that what you have to do is come to the point that you see the beauty of your own flaws, that it adds to your uniqueness, and not to feel like that because somebody doesn't appreciate you, that nobody will appreciate you. And I had to learn that. That's part of growing up. And to be comfortable in your own skin. And you find out that with 7 billion people on the planet, there's going to be all kinds of opinions, and you cannot allow other people's opinions to define who you are.
Well, speaking of criticism, in your career, what is one of the toughest criticisms that you've received as, you know, as a bishop, and how did you respond to it and conquer it?
Wow, you're asking hard questions because you get so many, and I think that most of the time I don't respond at all. You know, if there's something of value in the criticism, I learn from it, and if there's not, I discard it, and most of the time I ignore it. I kind of feel like when you're doing something that's important enough to be criticized, that goes with the turf. And you have to understand that, again, with that many people on the planet, everybody's not going to like what you do. And it's not about them, it's about you coming to a level of maturity that you do not allow their opinion to embed itself into your logic. Yet if there's something that will better you, then you take it as constructive and you use it and move forward. You know, there's something that I say to young leaders of all types, whether they're religious or not. The dog barks at the moon every night, and it's never a story. But if the moon ever barks at the dog, that's going to be front page stories. Once you consider yourself and know who you are, you don't respond to everything that barks at you.
I love that.
You do?
I love that.
Good.
Yes.
You can use it.
Okay, thank you.
10%.
You can't take my line now. That's why you're so successful now, because you're stealing from the goods.
I got you, Dana. Yeah. But it's quite true. If you live in a small world, you're going to have small critics. You live in a bigger world, you're going to have bigger critics. More means more. You can't have more of this, not have more of that. And there's some growth you have to do as a human being to get to the point that you have some tolerance against the acrimonious statements that social media and whatnot allows anybody to be able to say or do anything. And I say that the www for the World Wide Web is the Wild Wild West. And if you remember when we forged the early frontiers, there was lawlessness. And anytime you come into something new, there's lawlessness, and there will be attacks and murders and killings. And what you see on the World Wide Web and social media reflects the Wild Wild West and the frontiers that have not been tamed yet.
You better preach.
I'm TD Jakes, and you're watching Coco Fab.